Jada, say hi. Hi. There's my big princess and my little princess. And here's something interesting to think about for yourself. That beautiful little baby, up until the time you and her are 6 years old, you are in a brainwave state, similar to hypnosis, which means you do not have a conscious mind. You're like a sponge. You absorb and accept literally every single thing that is planted into your subconscious mind. Now, here's the crazy thing about that. All of that programming, according to psychologists, 70% of it is negative and redundant. It's a beautiful day today, and I was going to sit down here and go over the notes of what is stopping you from making the money you want, attracting the soulmate you want, because it has to do with that little cute baby, and it has to do with you as a little cute baby when you were a baby. Now, if you don't know, my name is Jake Ducey, and over the last 10 years, I've been on this journey where I was 19 years old, I dropped out of college, I decided to self-publish a book, and I had this dream, this big goal with my career, but all the publishers said no, and I wasn't getting the results I wanted, and it wasn't until I discovered these steps I'm going to break down that allowed me to go from a 19-year-old college dropout to, by the time I was 30, publishing numerous books with the #1 English publishing company in the world, Penguin Random House, becoming a multi-millionaire by the time I turned 30. And I don't say that to like brag or like, look how cool I am, because honestly, there's probably somebody watching this video or many people that have done far better. And I just share that with you because you can see if you follow this process, you can literally astound yourself at what you can accomplish. So if you haven't yet, I have a free success hypnosis. It's right there down below, jakeshypnosis.com, right there down below. It's my free success hypnosis to start to erase that old programming that largely was built up until the time you're 6, 7 years old and you're in a brainwave state akin to hypnosis. So smash the like button right over there. You can let me know if you think my baby's cute. So here's a question. Have you ever flown in a plane and you see the pilot walking around? You know, it happens less often because of safety and whatnot. Now they lock the cockpit. But the pilot's walking around and you're like, I remember when I'm a kid, I'm like, what the hell are they doing? Like, go back there and fly the plane, guys. Why aren't they flying it? Well, there's something called a cybernetic mechanism. It's in the human mind and it's in most machines. Similar to a GPS. The pilot isn't flying that plane. There's a set point. If it's going from Los Angeles to Australia, there is a set point. It is set to go there. It's the same thing with a thermostat on a car or a thermostat in a house. You know, it's really cold here. I'm pretty cold here right now. It's cold winter morning. And my thermostat, let's say it's set for 70 degrees, but let's say I leave all the doors and windows open. What happens? The thermostat kicks into high gear to regulate homeostasis. Now, think about the way that your thermostat, which is your mind, has been programmed. Or think about when you were a kid, the way your mind was programmed when you were in a brainwave state similar to hypnosis. So there was a book by Maxwell Maltz called Psycho-Cybernetics. Psycho meaning the mind, the psyche, and cybernetic meaning the programmed mechanism. Now, a plane is controlled by a cybernetic mechanism, and so is your mind. So if you ever wondered why you haven't got what you want, it's because of your psycho-cybernetic mechanism. Not because you're psycho, but because of your psycho-cybernetic mechanism. So here's a question to ask. Think of what you want and ask yourself, what have I been taught to believe? Like, for instance, let's say you wanted more money. Think about up until the time you were 6, 7, 8 years old, what beliefs, because you were a sponge, you were in a brainwave state similar to hypnosis, and everything went directly into your subconscious, what beliefs and emotions did your family hold about money? You know, the #1 cause for divorce is finances. So you might have heard a lot of negative things about finances that are buried into your subconscious. And you might be 30, 40, 50, 60 years old now, But that old psycho-cybernetic mechanism, or that old thermostat, is still regulating your financial reality. It's the same thing with love. It's the same thing with confidence. It's the same thing with your self-esteem. It's the same thing with your health. So consciously as an adult, you might say, well, I want to set my temperature for 80 degrees. I want to make 100,000 a year. I want to make $1 million. I want my soulmate. I want health. I want to be happy. But why isn't it working? It's because the thermostat, or the cybernetic mechanism, or the GPS is still set to the old way. So hang with me. I'm going to show you how I did this in my life, and I'm going to give you a step-by-step process for you to start to do this in your life. So if you're with me still, you can just let me know in the comments right there down below. Jake, I'm with you. Jake, I'm with you. I'm just going to sit here and enjoy God's beautiful creation while we break this down. Now, here's some important points to note. Now, there's inductive and deductive reasoning. Now, most people shut off their reasoning factor and they accept the reality that they're given. I call it reactionary and creation consciousness, which is you want more money, but because of your past, you believe you're set for a certain level. Well, think about the thermostat with money. Once most people become adults, they make the same amount of money every year for the rest of their life. That's why the average American income per household is about $50,000, and most people make the same amount every year. It's not because they aren't capable for more. It's because up until the time you're 6, you're in a brainwave state of hypnosis. That gets programmed. Then by the time you're 18, your neurological programming on your brain is set. So your brain gets conditioned to create a certain fundamental reality, whether it be with money, whether it be with love, whether it be with health, whether it be with happiness, anything that you want. Your brain gets set that way. And then people will want to consciously change it, but your conscious mind is only responsible for 5% of your life. 95% of your life is a pre-program, is a cybernetic mechanism. It's a thermostat that's set. So you get excited from a motivational YouTube video, you go to a seminar, it's New Year's, and you say, I'm going to change my life. But 3 months later, nothing changes. So people give up on the idea that they can create their reality, and instead they adapt to the reality that's given to them. And this is why I'm so big on hypnosis. You can get my free one right there down below. It's jakeshypnosis.com right there down below. But I'm going to show you now what you can do to change that quickly and easily, and exactly how I did it. So there's 4 questions to ask yourself. And I'm going to break this down so you can use it in your life, and I'll give an everyday example from my life. So I'm 19 years old. I drop out of college. All the publishing companies told me, no, you're too young. You can't do it. This will never work out. You're a moron. Go back to school. And so I inherited a belief system that I was too young to be successful. Now, in addition to that, all the successful authors were older. So I thought, there's no way I could be successful. There's no way I could make a lot of money. It wasn't until I met my mentor, Bob Proctor, and he said, why the hell do you keep telling me how old you are? Age has nothing to do with your success. It's just a number. Start saying that you're a successful, world-renowned author and speaker, inspiring millions of people and making millions of dollars. Now, I want you to think of what you want. Let's say it's money. Let's say it's health. Let's say it's love. Let's say it's more a certain reality or dream you want to create for yourself. Then think of what the programming when you were a kid. In the beginning of the video, I had my daughter. Think about, what did you inherit growing up in your household? What did the adults around you, the world around you, tell you about money? What did the adults around you tell you about love? A lot of people have heard that love is pain. Well, we inherit those belief systems. So here's a question to ask yourself in this 4-step process. Number 1 is this true? So I believed I was too young to be successful. Is this true? I might say, well, yeah, it's true. All the publishers are denying me. They're saying I can't do it, and I'm too young, and all blah, blah, blah. So I might say, yes, it's true. It's rational. But then the next question to ask yourself is this really true? Is it really true that you can't make double your income? Is it really true that you can't have your ideal romantic relationship? Is it really true that you can't be happy because of X, Y, Z, or something that happened in the past, or something somebody did to you? And the answer is no, it's not really true. Now, the third thing is, who would I be without this thought? Or who would I be without that perception? Well, If I didn't have the perception that I was too young, I would be a world successful author. I could become a millionaire, inspiring millions of people worldwide. Who would you be without the thought? Well, you might be able to have your ideal romantic relationship. You might be able to double your income. So ask yourself, who would I be without this thought? And then the fourth is to rewrite the opposite. You pull a pen and pad out, and in the present tense, you rewrite the opposite. This is a 4-step process that I learned from Byron Katie. Number one is this true? Is it really true that you can't make more money? No, you can do it. And I'm going to show you how in just a minute. Is it really true that you're condemned to never have your ideal romantic relationship? Is it really true that you can't be more confident, more happy, more healthy? No, it's not really true. So who would you be without that thought? And I just want you to take a moment, and after this video, you can close your eyes and imagine what your life would look like in answering the question, who would I be without the thought? So I started imagining, who would I be without the thought? Well, I'd have thousands of YouTube comments, people telling me they were inspiring me. My books would be translated into other languages. I'd be traveling around the world, living my dream life. That's who I would be without the thought. And then rewrite the opposite. And what I did to rewrite the opposite was I started building my own belief systems to implant them into my subconscious. Most people believe that you can't teach an old dog new tricks. So once you get programmed, up until the time you're 6, and by the time you're 18, you're neurologically programmed and your brain's conditioned to operate in a certain way. And we think you can't teach an old dog new tricks. But nothing could be further from the truth. We know from neuroplasticity, neuro meaning brain and plastic meaning changeable, that the brain is changeable, it's malleable. The subconscious is programmed through repetition. So what I did is I created a success hypnosis for myself that said, I give my talents with love, I'm wonderfully blessed financially, I'm a happy spiritual multimillionaire, which is one of my favorite ones. You can comment that down below. I'm a happy spiritual multimillionaire. Comment that down below. Or comment down below, I give my talents with love, and I'm wonderfully blessed financially. And if you want, you could use my free success hypnosis. I just started listening to it before I went to bed and when I'd wake up in the morning or when I journaled. And I just started rebuilding the patterns in my thoughts, my emotions, and my neurological connections in my brain. I started fundamentally changing my reality. And things started changing. My self-published book went on to sell 10,000 and 20,000 copies out of the trunk of my car, which is unheard of. 95% of books, including traditional books, don't sell 2,500 copies. Then I got a TEDx talk. Then the next thing I knew, Penguin Random House, the #1 English publishing company in the world at 23 years old, gave me a book deal. Then the next thing I knew, my YouTube channel is going viral. The next thing I know, just boom, 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 boom. Well, what happened? I asked myself, is it really true? Is it really true? Is it really true that you aren't smart enough? Is it really true that you don't know how? Is it really true that you cannot change your reality and you're condemned to your past that will recreate itself as your future? No, it's not true. You're the highest form of creation. You're made in the image of God. You're endowed with greatness. Then the next step is to understand reality isn't stationary. When we experience a certain fundamental reality, we'll just take money because it's measurable and an easy example. When you make 40K a year, year after year after year, you might think it's stationary. You might think, well, that's about what I'm going to do for the rest of my life, and I should be happy. You might be happy with what you got, but you shouldn't be satisfied. As Bob Proctor says, dissatisfaction is a creative state. That's what made the Wright brothers bend a piece of metal and fly it over the ocean. They were dissatisfied with the current levels of travel. Dissatisfaction is a creative state. You should be happy with what you got, but not satisfied. That's what made Edison build the light bulb. He wasn't satisfied with candles, right? And think about all the greatest achievements in human history. Dissatisfaction is a creative state. It's when you can separate yourself from your reality and realize you have the power to change it. So when you understand reality isn't stationary, it's actually an ocean of motion. And the subatomic fabric of reality and your cells are altered by perception. This is why I'm so big on hypnosis, because once you understand reality is not stationary, it's an ocean of motion. Like, for example, those look like solid mountains, right? That looks like a solid mountain. It is not a solid mountain. What it actually is a bunch of energy moving at a very high speed of vibration that I perceive as a red mountain. But if you look under a powerful enough microscope, it's made up of atoms. Those atoms are 99.999% empty space. This wall isn't a solid object. It's 99% empty space. Well, similarly, everything in your reality that you think is stationary or immovable, your bank account, your love life, your career, your house, what it actually is a bunch of energy moving at a very high speed of vibration full of subatomic particles. And we know from quantum physics, from the observer effect, that those subatomic particles are influenced by perception. They're influenced by your own perception. What is your bank account? It's a bunch of subatomic particles, an ocean of motion, flitting and fleeting at the speed of light, that perceive to be an immovable solid object, but it's not. So what you get out of this is you start to understand that the pattern plan that you've been programmed with, going back to the beginning, the cybernetic mechanism or the thermostat, is creating your reality in a way that we believe God's just given us this certain reality and we're only capable of this much, when in reality, it is a movable object. You can walk over to the thermostat and change it. The financial thermostat can move from 40K to 500K. The love thermostat can move to a crappy relationship to your dream relationship. It's all movable. So what I started to do was ask myself, is this really true? It's not really true. If reality is just perception and everything is energy moving at the speed of light, then I can alter the pattern plan in my subconscious and start to recreate my reality. As George Bernard Shaw said, that most people look around for the circumstances that they want, and if they can't find them, they adapt to the life they're given. But the unreasonable person looks around for the circumstances that they want, and if they can't find them, they create them. That's not a cliche. It's scientifically proven that everything is an ocean of motion, energy moving at a very high speed of vibration, and from perception, you can alter it. And I'm not asking you to believe me. Do a thought experiment. Just test this out. And then use hypnosis to start to reprogram your subconscious every time you catch yourself. Remember, this isn't real. It's not real that I'm only capable of this much, I can only do this. My current reality, stop looking at it like a solid object and start looking at it like an ocean of motion. And when you understand that it's the result of perception, you can alter the pattern plan of the subatomic reality of your life and the very cells of your body. And so I started to do that, and things started to change. I started attracting new people. I attracted the #1 publishing company in the world. Things started shifting. Just imagine what you could attract if you stopped accepting what you saw with your physical senses as face value. Because newsflash, you're not a physical body. That's 1% of who you are. You're a spiritual being in a physical body connected to the divine creation, connected to God, connected to spirit, connected to all the energy that ever was and ever will be. And science tells us energy is never created or destroyed. It's just transferred to different states. So your bank account is one state of energy. Your love life is one state of energy. But that state of energy is never created or destroyed, and it's always transferred. And that's what the quantum physics shows us. The subatomic particles would sometimes be observable. The scientists could see it sometimes, but sometimes they would disappear. They'd move into another dimension. Well, where did they go? Do they no longer exist? No, they're just outside of the spectrum of visible light that we perceive as real. Similarly, everything that you want is waiting for you to call it into your life. So it's important to understand this. It is not your fault. It's not your fault that you have the reality that you have, and you're not condemned to it. When you look at your bank account, it's not your fault. When you look at your love life, it's not your fault. When you look at the home you're in, if you don't love it, it's not your fault. But also understand, you have the free will to change the pattern plan that is controlling it. And when you make the free will choice to start to build a new image and move from that image, is what's called a visionary, someone that lives from an inner vision. Most people are reactionaries. They just react like animals to their environment because we're conditioned to do that. But a visionary is someone that builds an inner vision and decides that that inner vision is as real as their outside world, because it is. Your dream reality is already real. It is just in what quantum physics refer to as a wave state. A wave meaning energy that is not perceivable. It's in a wave state. It's in the quantum field, waiting for you to align with it, waiting for you to call it into life, and waiting for you to move confidently in the direction of your dreams. So let go of the past. Let go of your five senses. Wallace Wattles used to say that lack of evidence isn't evidence of lack. Comment that down below. Lack of evidence is not evidence of lack. What does that mean? Lack of evidence, just because I can't see the evidence that I'm capable of more financially, that I could attract my soulmate, just because the evidence isn't there, doesn't mean it's a lack of evidence. It just means that my present environment is just a subatomic collection, an energetic collection of my past perception. But now you're realizing you're a spiritual being in a physical body. Energy is never created or destroyed, and it's infinite in nature, meaning there is no scarcity except for the limitations we impose upon ourselves. So when you let go of the past and you mentally reset your thermostat, you open the doors to perception. As William Blake said, once the doors of perception are cleansed, then everything appears as it is, infinite. So the question is, what do you really want? Not what do you think you can get based off of your past, not what do you think you can get based off of what you see with your five senses, not what do you believe you're capable based off of the way you were programmed. What do you want? And are you going for what you want, or have you decided it's impossible? Because both are just perceptions you've created in your own mind, because that's how powerful your mind is. So my question is, why are they not telling us this? Like, newsflash, it's possible. You can do it. And as Tony Robbins says, most people overestimate what they can accomplish in a year, and then they underestimate what they can accomplish in a decade. So they overestimate what they can accomplish in a couple months. They don't get the results they want. They react to it. They see the lack of evidence, and they go, I guess it's not possible. And then using the power of their own free will, they create their own limitations, thinking those limitations have been imposed upon them by the world, not understanding that their consciousness from a subatomic level and a subconscious level is creating it. People will say, well, nothing's changing. Well, everything's changing, because everything is energy moving at a very high speed of vibration. That's just energy. That's just energy. Your bank account's just energy. Your love life's just energy. It's just that we haven't changed the thermostat or the cybernetic mechanism or the GPS. We haven't asked ourselves, is this really true? Who would I be without this thought? And what do I really want? So what you can do is start to rewrite this thermostat and then test these ideas in your life. Do not accept what the world has given you up until this moment. Do not accept what you've created up until this moment as your destiny. And when you do this, life gets beautiful. Life gets exciting. Life gets fun. And it becomes a game. I just made it a game. I was like, all right, if this is all true, I'm going to hypnotize myself every single day. I'm going to build a picture of what I really want. So I started hypnotizing myself. So I say, get my success hypnosis. It's right there down below. It's jakeshypnosis.com. It's free. It's pinned to the comments and in the description right there down below. Comment down below, it's not my fault. It's not your fault. It's not your parents' fault. It's not society's fault. It's just that we've accepted ideas that we thought were true, and we've never questioned them. And then we've inherited them into our minds. We've used the power of free will to unconsciously create our own limitations. So I said, if this is all true, why don't I just test it? Instead of believing what Bob Proctor says, instead of believing what great books say, instead of believing what my circumstances in my life tell me, why don't I test it? And I wrote on a piece of paper that I was going to be a big successful author, inspiring millions of people, making millions of dollars, inspire millions of people as an online personality. And I said, why don't I see what happens? I always say, suspend your disbelief. What would happen if you suspended your disbelief for 1 year? Your disbelief that says your finances are an immovable object and you're stuck that way. What would happen if you suspended your disbelief that your soulmate wasn't out there? Could it be possible that you're the one blocking your soulmate from coming? It's like, wow. And it just opens up this door of unlimited possibilities where you go, man, what could I create for myself if I suspended my disbelief? So every time those thoughts pop back into your head, don't accept them as you. One of the most powerful things you can do is stop believing everything that you think, because most of the things that you're thinking up until this moment are subconscious. 70% of them are negative and redundant, and you've inherited them by other people. So when they pop up, go, is this really true? And then reshift your focus to, what do I want? And then moving confidently in the direction of your dreams. I believe in you because I found out that us as human beings are more capable of than we possibly imagine. And I just said, let's make it a game. What could I possibly accomplish? Could I become a millionaire by the time I was 27? Let's see. I have no idea. It seems like if all of these things are true, I could probably do it. Well, could I be a multimillionaire by the time I'm 30? Could I inspire millions of people on the internet? Well, what could you do? It's exciting, isn't it? So just let's end this video with a nice deep breath in and out. Breathe in deeply and say thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. What do I want? What do I deserve? What am I capable of? And am I willing to reject any ideas that don't match that picture that I'm building in my head, knowing that that picture is real because it's energy? A picture in your head is just as real as this wall. The only way we define real is something we can see, smell, taste, and touch. But what you see, smell, taste, and touch is a little bandwidth of energy we call visible light. In the background, you can hear that dog. If you blow a dog whistle, you can't hear the dog whistle, but we trust that it's real. Well, it's vibrating at a frequency beyond what our physical senses can perceive. Your reality is just vibrating, your dream reality is just vibrating at a frequency beyond what you can perceive. And I'm here to tell you, it's waiting for you to claim it. So, my name's Jake with JakeDucey.com. I want to remind you, it's not your fault. I want to remind you 4 simple questions. Is this true? Is this really true? Who would I be without this thought or perception? And then rewrite the opposite. Put it on a pen and pad, and then start using my success hypnosis to reprogram your subconscious mind. It's right there down below. It's jakeshypnosis.com. It's pinned to the comments and in the description. And I want to remind you, understand reality is not stationary. It is an ocean of motion, of energy, and the subatomic fabric of that reality is altered by your perception. Find out how powerful your mind really is, because I'm telling you, it's a lot more than we could possibly imagine. So thanks for watching today's video. Smash the like button right over there, right over there. Subscribe and bell notification. People are telling me they aren't getting notified for my new videos. So make sure you hit the bell notification. Give me a comment. Let me know where in the world you're coming from. I'm in the beautiful southwest of the United States. And be sure to check out my free success hypnosis and pull out a pen and pad and ask yourself, what do I really want? And am I living what I really want, or am I living what I think I can get? And if you remember not to believe everything that you think, then you understand what you think you can get is just an illusion. It's just a mirage. And then the question is, once you take the limits off your beautiful, marvelous, miraculous mind, what are you really capable of? So absolutely great day. Thanks for watching today's video. Be sure to check out my free success hypnosis right there down below, and I'll see you next time.